Good morning and welcome back to Hey Sister by Two Cute Sister. Where here we talk about all things that deal with women over 40, maybe over 50, and we talk about how we can help and empower each other. So today I want to talk to us about some things that change once you pass that certain age range. You know that age, the age that we are. So today I wanted to share with you a couple of things that I noticed and you may have noticed as we've aged. One of the things that changed for me was my friend group became a smaller group. You know, when you're in high school, you're in your 20s, even in your early 30s, you have a group of friends you hang out with and you're buddy. Well, once you are over 40, that friend group will begin to change. The people that you hang out with grow smaller, and not necessarily is it a bad thing. It can actually be a good thing because as we age, well, I know with me, we begin to define who we are and the values in which we stand for. And so people begin to move away, life gets busy, some friendships naturally fade, but you begin to value quality over quantity. It's not as important for me in my 40s, past my 40s, to hang out as much as it was for me when I was in my 20s and in my 30s. And so now I have a very small group of friends, and the time we spend together is special to me. To me, it is even more special than it was when I was younger because it's more meaningful. We have more meaningful conversations. We know what we want in life. We don't waste time with all that BS. We get straight to the point, and no one is faking. No one is pretending to be something that they aren't. We're not trying to impress one another. We are there for each other as sisters and not as competitors. We're not jealous of each other. We're not being petty. The second thing I'm going to share that happened as I aged, as I was over 40, is my confidence increased. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never been one shy. I've never been lacking in confidence, but my confidence increased as I aged. So as I became a woman of a certain age, I didn't care what people thought about me. I didn't care about getting on camera. I didn't care about doing any of those little nitpicky things that, some people cared about when they were younger. And so that is one of the second things that changed for me as I became over 40. And the third thing is drama became exhausting. We have those friends, we have those things that happen that are drama. But once you become a woman, or I became a woman that was over 40, I had less tolerance for the drama. I want to be involved in the drama. And I had friends when I was younger that kept up drama. It was always a great event. Something was always happening. Something was always going on. We went somewhere. It was like, oh my God, we all going to jail because she was going to do something, or they were going to do something that was rather eventful. Well, once you become a certain age, you no longer have tolerance for those things that create drama in your life. And I'm glad I don't. I can tell you bye and keep it moving. When you're over 40, definitely over 50, your health becomes more important to you. We began to be more concerned about what is going on within our bodies. Our bodies change as women. We begin to experience certain events that no one told us about, no one told me about. In my 20s, in my 30s, I had heard about menopause. I had heard about perimenopause, and they talked about it. But no one went into any real details. And I think about my grandmother, and even my mother. I don't think it was talked about as much at that age, about the things that happen to your body, about the love handles that suddenly show up, and that you have to eat better. I used to stay up all night, eat Twinkies, drink a lot of soda, run around and keep that same fit physique. Well, those days have passed, and so our health becomes more important. And one of the main things that changed, and I'm thankful it changed, I just hate it was so late, was that our money mindset changes. We no longer just make the impulse buying. We make better financial decisions. We are more concerned with our financial situation, and that's because I think we're nearing that retirement age. We are nearing an age where our money matters because we're trying to figure out how we're going to live without that job or that place to go to. Well, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what you're doing. And another thing that changes is it's easier to say no. I don't have a problem telling people no. When you're young, you used to worry about what people thought, and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Well, once you get past 40, you are no longer as concerned about hurting people's feelings. You can go ahead and tell them no and feel good about yourself. The comparison stop as much. You don't worry about comparing yourself to your friend, your neighbor as much, because you have figured out who you are. You have become comfortable with your identity, and you're okay with saying, this is me, this is who I am, I like me, and I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to do all these things just to make you happy. I've got to do what makes me happy. And so we stop compromising as much. And if you're single and you're dating completely changes. No longer are you dating for looks, you're dating for all of the wrong reasons. You're dating because you're looking for that companion that's going to be with you throughout the other half of your life. You're looking for someone who wants to love you for you, that wants to love, as I said, those love handles, that realizes gravity takes hold of certain things, and they're not looking for that perfect body, that perfect someone. So dating changes. If you're a single, or divorced, or whatever the circumstances may be, or widowed, and you suddenly find yourself dating and you're over 40, and you know that things change. Something that shocked me was empty nest syndrome. I had heard about it. I thought it was real funny that you would be sad because your kids were grown. And once mine completely grew up, all of them, and I have 2 boys, then suddenly you realize that you do start to experience what you can call empty nest syndrome. So we have to find us an emotional base or someone to help us deal with those emotions that deal with being an empty nester. Also, your time becomes very valuable. My time is valuable. I don't know about yours. I don't have time for the junk, the drama, the other stuff that takes place. And so time becomes more precious because we don't have as much of it as we had before. We're in the middle of our lives, and so we don't have time to waste on stupidity. Again, we care less about other people's opinion. We choose peace over perfection. And this is something I found, I was surprised that it was me, but you begin to value leaving a legacy. You want to leave that dynasty or whatever it is behind for your children. You want to make sure that you leave a positive legacy. You also want to rediscover your old dreams. You know, a lot of us had dreams. Unfortunately, we had things in life that happened that made us put those dreams off. Maybe we had kids, maybe we got married, and then we had to raise the children. We had the job, and we had to put that behind because we didn't have time to do it because we were worried about the job. We were worried about getting the kids to all of these events. But once you're over 40, the kids are grown. Usually, most of the kids are grown. And you can go back to the hobbies and the dreams that you had before you became a mom, before you became someone's wife, before you did all the things. And you can become who you really wanted to be. You can pursue those dreams again. And last but not least, and I gave you 15, believe it or not, you realize life isn't ending. Life is not over because you're over 40. Life is just beginning. Life is not over because of gravity, again. Life is not over because of love handles. Life is not over because you experienced a divorce, you experienced some deaths, experienced some disappointments. And once you're over 40, over 50, you realize there have been a lot of disappointments. There have been a lot of heartbreaks. But life isn't over. You can recover and you can become a stronger and a better person as a woman over 40. And so today I shared with you 15 things that change once you become a woman over 40. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you in the next video.